Good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime Series, where we can chat about everything leadership, coaching and marketing in aim of adding value to people's lives, happening every Wednesday and Thursday on ebizradio.com. You can catch the Lunchtime Series on all your major podcast channels, and to help us grow the channel, guys, please follow, like and share with everyone. And in today's marketing and leadership segment, joining as per usual, marketing communications expert Craig Page-Lee. How are you doing, Craig?
I'm doing well, Kevin. Good to be chatting. And by the way, it's our 90th show today. Hey? And
see,
yeah,
actually, have like a streamer or a sort of a champagne. Or
yeah, God, yeah. Three more shows left for the year before we close off on this year. We'll have to, another 7 next year, and then we hit the big 100. Can you believe it?
When we get to 100, I'm gonna have champagne and I'm gonna drink or something. We're gonna do something or be naked. One of them.
Yeah, we need to set up a really special event for that day.
We should, absolutely, and have some people back with us.
Yes.
We have like some wonderful guests, and they all chat for 10 minutes or 5 minutes, and they just leave.
Yeah, definitely a hugely interactive show. Absolutely.
So diving into this 19th show, Craig, please share with us what our key takeaways from last week's conversation.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. So just as a reminder to our listeners, we looked at some of the workplace trends that have actually been slowing business down during 2022. And the key takeaway points from the article titled "A Crisis of Disconnection, 3 Workplace Trends Slowing Business Growth." The article was written by Hannah Nickerson and was published on November the 14th, 2022, and is part of the Crisis of Disconnection Thought Leadership series that evaluates research and insights onto how businesses can actually meet their growth targets. So here are the 3 points we covered. Firstly, internal systems are disconnected. So the path to sustainable growth and more connected consumer experiences starts with a streamlined tech stack and centralized customer data. And when teams are aligned around that single source of truth, everyone, including your customer, wins. An important point to note here, Kevin, is that disconnected systems are rated the #1 pain point for many companies. The second takeaway point is that people are working within silos post-pandemic. So if your people are part of a big part of your value proposition, it's just about impossible to overstate the importance of building those bridges between silos and teams and actually facilitating communication across geographic lines as well. A key point to note here is that with many businesses having adopted either this hybrid or entirely remote workforce, it's really impossible for the regular conversations and social interactions to happen between co-workers. And then the third takeaway point was connecting with customers has never been harder. It was noted that 25% of companies actually cite a lack of depth in relationship with customers as one of their top challenges this year, and it's strategies that we've all relied on in the past actually won't see us into the future, and that modern day challenge requires more modern day solutions. And the key point to note here is that the so-called new normal is really affecting the way that organizations connect with their customers, with research consistently showing that customer experience is critical to an organization's short and long-term success, Kevin. And those are the key takeaways from last week.
Fantastic, great. So, guys, if you want to check that out, the crisis of disconnection, and I think so important for us to for 2023 coming up, having that cognizance of what are those key things disconnecting us, and how to mitigate that, because if we don't, it's sort of guarantees effect on business in the long run. But I mean, Craig, what are we going to share with the listeners today?
Kevin, I want to address a really informative report that I came across via the ANA Newsstand newsletter that I subscribe to. And for listeners, ANA is the Association of National Advertisers, which is the USA's largest and oldest trade association in the industry, and really great source of reference for many of our conversations. This particular report is titled "The Future of Marketing Report: 7 Trends Changing the Status Quo," and it was published by Pega, which is a company that has developed an AI-powered decision and workflow automation tool that actually, to quote, helps enterprises solve problems faster and transforms for tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So that's really exciting. But I mean, Craig, you've mentioned the ANA before, and while you reference the report, what else can we learn from the ANA newsstand newsletter?
Okay, Kevin, yes. So again, you know, they've got multiple newsletters that are subscribed to and really informative content. And this particular one opens with a statement, according to Chris Ross, who's the Vice President of Analytics at Gartner. When COVID-19 hit in March 2020, few B2B marketers had plans to deal with their live conferences and events getting completely nixed. Salespeople canceling travel plans to meet with clients, and customers and prospects working from home. The magnitude of disruption should serve as a wake-up call for brand managers to develop more responsive and resilient planning capabilities. While fairly boring and overstated for many, Matthew Lieberman, PwC CMO for the US and Mexico, also an ANA member, notes that COVID-19 was the catalyst for shifting his marketing planning process from the arduous yearly meetings that planned out the next 3 to 5 years to strategic planning done every 6 months, with tactics filled in for the upcoming quarter as opposed to 12-month rollouts. While this is obvious that marketing heads need to be driving integrated business thinking across the organization, it really is about being informed by the needs of the vertical business units within Kevin. And this approach is put into action by another ANA member, Lenovo, a big brand that we're all aware of, where the marketing department actually huddles with the company's various business units quarterly. So, you know, from 3 to 5 year planning to quarterly really being where it's at the moment. Gerald Youngblood, the Lenovo CMO for North America, states that this allows the marketing team to be more in tune with the business and gain perspective, which we feed back into our evolving marketing plans. And this drives Lenovo's long-term vision, which is their benchmark for their short-term execution.
So, I mean, Craig, looking at the report now, what can you tell us about the 7 trends changing the status quo?
Yeah, Kevin, so I firstly want to just talk about the methodology. It was an interesting methodology that was adopted by Pegasystems, and they collected viewpoints from over 750 marketing executives ranging across a broad spectrum of industry sectors, including the likes of financial services, life sciences, which I thought was quite interesting, healthcare, retail insurance, manufacturing, the likes of telcos, the traditional that you'd see in there, and public sector. And the key objective here was to be able to understand how marketing is changing in response to MarTech 2.0 and other disruptions that we're seeing in the marketplace. And yeah, the likes of evolving digital technologies like AR, VR, augmented reality is really gaining a lot of traction. Even AI and machine learning will actually help drive the shift by creating more personalized omni-channel customer experiences. And as you know, we have covered omni-channel extensively in the show today. Kevin, it's interesting, approximately 30% of companies surveyed actually noted that they've already adopted some form of advanced digital technologies, which is anticipated to double to at least 60% of companies in the next 3 to 5 years. So there's probably quite a bit of investment going into that particular field. Deploying these innovative tools, however, will help increase loyalty. It will definitely help maximize customer lifetime value, a key conversation topic at the moment, and ultimately transform companies' bottom lines and profitability. This will change everything from the key performance indicators through to marketing leaders, the key performance indicators that marketing leaders actually need to meet, through to the kinds of relationships that customers will actually have with these particular companies, Kevin.
So what are the trends covered in the report then, Craig?
Yeah, so the report covered 7 trends, as I mentioned. Let me list them first, and then we can actually go through them in a bit more detail. So the first point here is it's getting even more personal. The second trend is omni-channel, everything, everywhere, and I really do like that. The third is a remapped buyer's journey. Obviously, on the back of omni-channel, it's inevitable that you'd expect that. The fourth is great content is everything. Again, another great conversation point we've had. The fifth is, are you ready for the next iteration of the internet, Web 3.0? The sixth point is, own your ESG messaging. And the seventh trend here is it's time for a skill shift. And again, another really great topic that we've had some great conversation on.
Craig, it's interesting that you mentioned it's getting even more personal, because I just spoke to someone who does LinkedIn marketing, and he was coining, or just saying that, you know, the fact of the matter is, what really gets people interested in your content is they want to know your your random video taken by, you know, a phone. They want to see that kind of content. So like an unproduction video that's really not that's really about behind the scenes and how do you do what you do. And I was like, that's really interesting, because if you because you know, from my perspective, generally you're showcasing how things, what you've done, and there's proper production value to it, and he's going, no, that's not what sells. That's, you know, people. He then showed me something of a post that he just took a photograph of someone at a petrol station and complained that, you know, you couldn't tip the people at the petrol station or adding their tips to your petrol price, or, you know, just swiping once and then giving them some kind of money towards their services. And he got something like 250,000 views on this one post. And it was like, it's like very personalized. And he's in the business of marketing and brand building on LinkedIn and I was like, it's really interesting to see that that's where we're shifting to. We're moving to a very, very personalized approach to how we market.
Yes.
Things. Is that what we're going to talk about?
And that's part of it, and that's in real time as well, which is really great. You know, it's not needing to go away. Mind you, TikTok is in essence that in every sense of the word. It is, you get the opportunity to curate and add in filters and layers and all the rest, and music, and create lovely produced end pieces. But it's also the chance of, in real time, capture it from the heart as it's seen and as it's said and heard. So yes, it is about personal. But yeah, as we listed those 7 points, I did mention that there's a couple of the topics that we have touched on previously, and it's nice to see different points of view come across on those topics. But let's start with trend number 1, which is this particular point of it's getting even more personal. So personalized marketing is not a new concept, Kevin. Yeah, I talk about the likes of TikTok just to validate that, but the scope and degree of personalization really is what will change in the next 3 to 5 years. And it's about combining large volumes of data and utilizing these advanced technologies that will actually enable companies to achieve much higher capacity in delivering more customized engagements. So true personalization means tailored content pieces and personalized messaging, but they must also be contextually relevant, a key point we've discussed, and obviously perfectly timed, all being supported by technology that can interpret customer data better and faster. And obviously AI will have the capacity to decide what messaging to send to your customer based on their past actions and behaviors, with some real-time signals, contextual data, and including how other buyers like them actually have reacted and behaved. And the one-on-one engagements really will allow brands to adapt instantly, engage with empathy, key word here, and maximize long-term value, all while improving conversion rates. And at the end of the day, that's why brands do what they do. They want to improve the conversion rates.
Well, and this is his point he was making about this post he did on LinkedIn, was he did this one post. It went viral, obviously, and because it went viral, he made R1 million because he got 14 leads from this from people who connected because of this post, and he converted Fantastic. 4 of them, and he made a whole bunch of money based on that one post.
That's fantastic. Yeah,
that's the point of marketing, right?
Well, that's maybe a good segue to trend number 2, which is omni-channel, everything, everywhere. You know, it's about the study found that the importance of, here it goes, social, experimental, mobile, video, and influencer marketing is on the increase. So, yeah, great point to segue into this, which is linked to the growing importance of omnichannel, and it's about the consolidation of strategies and customer touchpoints driven through AI and coordinated approaches, Kevin, which will help marketers deliver much better omnichannel experiences, all adding, most importantly, more value to the buyer. Omnichannel provides a unified customer experience filled with contextually relevant real-time engagement across all the brand channels and platforms, the likes of email, social media, webinars, mobile, and obviously in-person engagements as well, Kevin.
Yeah.
Trend number 3 is about a remapped buyer's journey. And what we learn here is that the future won't be built around a single buyer's journey, but actually rather a multitude of buyer's journeys, but actually with the unique path for each buyer. And I really like that realm of thinking. It's also predicted that 4 forces will shape and remap the customer trajectories over the next 3 to 5 years, creating an endless stream of distinctive yet self-directed experiences. And this is important because that self-directed talks quite specifically to the individual input of defining what your buyer journey is. So the 4 forces that are listed as disrupting the buyer's journey are defined as follows. Number 1 is the triumph of customer success. Number 2 is customer lifetime value is finally measurable, and we've had an entire show on defining how to measure customer lifetime value, the growing importance of digital only or mostly digital buyer, and then finally the 4th point here is the expanding capabilities of marketing technology.
Yeah, I mean, and that's definitely a conversation that I think is worth expanding on, Craig, because I think remapping a buyer's journey, I think a lot of people don't know how to do that, and it's a bit of it's like speaking French a little bit. So, like, definitely want to know more about that, and definitely something I need to go and look up.
Okay, I'm making a note of that. Pick that up as one of the shows before the year is through. Then moving on to trend number 4 is about great content is everything. And we had a wonderful chat on content a good few weeks ago. And the point we've emphasized time and time again is that we know all content should be a key component of a marketer's toolkit, as we expect to see the customer lifetime value increasing over the next 3 to 5 years. Quality content really needs to come to the fore there because it adds to help brands and companies support their customers' journeys or help them in building those relationships. And the 4 subpoints that came out of presenting the importance of content are noted as follows. So firstly, content always has to speak to the customer. And here we note that great content puts the audience at the center, answers the customer's questions or solves their problems. It plays off key search items, it introduces a new perspective, is obviously action-oriented, and it's delivered, again, at the right time to the right customer. Future content on its own won't be enough. It has to be the consolidation of meeting all of those points. The second subpoint picked up here is that everyone is a thought leader, and I really like this. And thought leadership in the form of white papers, research studies, webinars, podcasts like ours, and reports will remain critical for establishing trusted experts both in B2B and B2C marketing. The third subpoint is the race to maximize search engine placement. So with all of the content being produced and the shift to digital buyer's journey, we'll definitely see an increase in competition around SEO ranking in the next 3 to 5 years. And that both from a bought and planned organic SEO point of view. And then the final subpoint here is long live the content producers. So that we'll see quality content producers shine, whether in-house, whether freelancers or agency affiliated. Good content producers will be in growing demand in the short term. The 5th trend here is, are you ready for the next iteration of the Internet Web 3.0?
Craig, this needs to be a conversation point as well, because like I don't even think people know that there's a next iteration of the internet on its way.
Well, there we go. Many marketers aren't even sure what Web 3.0 is, Kevin, let alone how to use it. Yeah, so definitely. Web 3.0 will be defined by, or is defined by, a type of digital experience that's not controlled by a single entity, making it much more immersive. And in the case of marketing, content creators will actually rise to the fore, and no single social media platform will be dominant. Many marketers will use Web 3.0 technologies to captivate customers and meet them where they are in the metaverse, while others will just use it to augment their existing strategies with more exciting content for that particular world.
Craig, if that's the case, then I'm so excited for what that means for governments in the world, because I speak under correction. I'm not sure which country it is now, but the country where all the women are protesting against
Iran.
Is it Iran? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, because of that, people are standing up to governments that are cruel and dictatorship. The same thing is happening in China at the moment, right? So I think when we get to an internet where it's less controlled by the powers that be, you know, people are going to be very accountable to the people who put them in power, because if they're not, I think the source of this new web is really going to be, it's really going to do stuff that people don't expect. So Elon, I mean, we spoke about Elon Musk, you know, and his responsibility that he has with Twitter, you know, but essentially I think
or lack of.
or lack of there are, yeah. But I mean, essentially it's, you know, people are tired of being run by governments that don't serve them. And I think there are so many countries that suffer through this, South Africa being one of them.
Yeah. You know, I think it would be incredibly interesting to actually get to see a virtual visual interpretation of what each and every single one of those women that are protesting, how they would represent themselves in this new world, what that actually says and does and looks like, and how brands can associate with that and be there to support them. But on the flip side of that is, you know, obviously with the lunacy of government they have, there's no ways they're probably going to even be able to have access to the internet to experiment and create these futuristic worlds that they strive to belong to and participate in.
But I hear that, but I also think that there's the predominant overview of where the world is generally moving to is away from dictatorships. And I think within the next 30 to 40 years, governments will be overthrown by the fact that people just want to be, you know, live their lives in peace. And really, and we all just want happiness and peace and do well, you know. And the atrocious things that are happening in countries, it's ridiculous, you know. And I think the governments can just do that much, and it's going to change. I think it's going to. Well, I'm optimistic about that.
Yeah, I think the one thing that is going to change is the world's view on religion, because really much of this does stem from a religious bias.
Yeah, completely. Yeah.
Moving on to trend number 6, own your ESG messaging. And just to reiterate for our listeners, Kevin, you know, ESG is environment, social, and corporate governance. In the future, marketers won't just be working on their company's ESG reports. They'll actually be integrating ESG, diversity, corporate social responsibility messaging throughout all of their marketing programs, and most definitely seeing those actually impacting on the organization's policies and procedures as well. Many B2B customers focused on reducing the impact through their supply chain, which obviously is great. Meanwhile, B2C customers, especially in the NZ, are really increasingly making buying decisions based on the aspects of diversity, equity, inclusion, ESG measures, and CSR metrics as well. And ESG marketers will assume responsibility, and I really like this point, for collaborating with operations, external partners, and other stakeholders to get the messaging right, which, again, can only be right the performance and behavior of the business demonstrate the same.
Yeah.
Trend number 7, it's time for a skill shift, and I'm fascinated to hear what you think at this point when we've covered it. So yeah, in the future, marketers won't just be working on, I've made a mistake there. The report is about building a broader skill set and needs to be more tech savvy if they are to use AI-powered decision-making and workflow automation effectively. And it's really, for me, conversation we had about how scared are employees in using AI versus when you position them to work with it, they become more familiar and less fearful of it. It becomes more an effective collaborative solution where they're getting greater benefit and performing better in their jobs, and they're not shying away from AI and obviously improving their skills and capability, Kevin. But on that particular point, the report expands on two other subsets, focusing on firstly that the skills organizations need for success is about cultivating new capacities, since a broader scope of skills will be called for in most marketing roles. And the next point is about adaptability is essential. And with the speed of change accelerating in marketing, evolving digital and computational proficiencies, interpersonal aptitude, a really important point, collaboration, adaptability, and resilience are all gaining in importance.
You know, Craig, when it comes to skills, I mean, like you and I have had this conversation many a time, and I think when it comes to skills or learning or adopting skills that support artificial intelligence, what I think most companies are not doing effectively is they don't go all in. They kind of want to adopt this new little system. And then people are kind of going, oh, what's this new system? And yet, although it might be a magnificent system, you know, to get buy-in from a large organization, what organizations should rather do is completely change the way they do business, completely overhaul their business, and do a complete AI-driven sort of integrated, skilled way of working. To just add a little system here and a system here, that's what's causing frustration for people, right?
Yeah.
The reason why people can't get on board with this is because it's just another system that they now need to learn. If you really just overhaul it and kind of go, we're going to do business differently, and we're doing it hand in hand with artificial intelligence, it changes how we do business, right? And
that's all about adaptability. It's so important that this adaptability to be able to work with AI, allow AI to direct, but also at the same time direct AI to be able to be in a position that you can accelerate your marketing activities. You can evolve the digital proficiencies in the business, very much around adaptability, gosh, tongue-tied here. But what's really interesting is the skill sets that are actually going to be needed in 3 to 5 years in the marketing world, Kevin. Firstly is marketing strategy and thought leadership is going to be the most sought after skill. Then problem solving, then creativity, take note, only in third position. And then this is what I thought quite interesting is digital and computational and data management and analytics are actually sitting in the same percentage of a skill set need in the next 3 to 5 years with creativity. But marketing strategy, thought leadership, and problem solving sitting at the top of the pile there.
But and Craig, again, it comes back to everybody. It's a human go-to for 90% of the planet. It's everybody wants someone to follow. Everybody wants someone to follow.
Yeah.
And if you're not the one going out there and putting yourself out there and failing fast and failing forward and leading the pack, there will be someone that will do it. Right. And that's what people need. People want people to be innovative and creative and come up with solutions. So like leadership for me is, as you know, it's instrumental to what the future needs, because the future is human.
Yes.
As much as AI is there, it needs human component to really drive it.
100%.
As we close the show, Craig, so what are the key takeaways for the listeners in this conversation today?
Yeah, Kevin, so to wrap up, I want to quickly reference again the summary of the 7 key trends that will transform marketing in the next 3 to 5 years. And these are noted as follows. The same 7 points, but there's a really nice summary explanation for each of them at the end of the report. So 1, AI-powered decisioning and real-time data signals will be key to great one-on-one personalization. And the key emphasis point here is about The degree and scope of personalization will increase as AI and automation take one-to-one marketing to new heights, powered by increasingly rich customer data. Point 2, everything will be omni-channel, not to be confused with multi-channel. Great point that. So as we discussed on a number of occasions, customers want a unified, contextually relevant experience across all channels, Kevin. And businesses here will need to intensify their efforts to increase customer satisfaction and improve that conversion at the point of conversation. Point 3 here is it's the end of the buyer's journey as you know it. It's almost a good song in that. MarTech will enable more personalized and dynamic journeys, along with the ever-present move to more digital channels. So remapping the customer's buyer's journey is inevitable. Point 4 is quality content will be business critical. Again, another key point we discussed, with excellent content not just being part of marketing, it will actually be integral to ensuring better SEO and better buyer attention. Takeaway point 5 is that everyone will need a strategy to adapt and engage with customers in the next iteration of Web 3.0. Marketing will obviously need a good grasp, or at least marketers will obviously need a good grasp of Web 3.0, what the opinions are, how to remain informed, and keep agile approaches so that they can utilize them in real time. Takeaway point 6 is environmental, social, and governance and corporate social responsibility will need to be part of your marketing DNA. And marketing's ESG deliverables won't just be a once-a-year report, Kevin. They'll be integrated throughout all marketing activities. And finally, takeaway point 7 here is that more skills and knowledge of tech will be needed. Marketers of the future will be adaptable and comfortable using AI to power more decision-making, with creativity, problem-solving, and strategy still being key to navigating the channel and changing marketing landscape. And yeah, a really great insightful report, Kevin, and something that touches on all the points that marketers really need to be aware of. And those are the key takeaway points for today, Kevin.
Fantastic, Craig. Thank you for the wrap up and the insights on this. I think what I like, from listening to these points, from a marketing perspective, is that, people are starting to have this conversation about what the future looks like, which also means or insinuates that we get to be part of the creation of it. Nice. And if we're not educated and we're not investigating and we're not part of what this evolution of the future looks like, who's going to be? So essentially, it's nice to see that people are putting it out there. It's nice to see that these trends that are being picked up, even in marketing, are being spoken about in this way, because it's really leading us to for a lack of a better word, the futurist kind of conversations that we should be having.
Yes.
And what that means for our lives and our legacies and our children's legacies, and I mean, just the fact that being insightful about your carbon emissions and your carbon footprint and how that influences, and why your ESG, as you mentioned here, how that imprints the marketing and what you're putting out there intentionally or essentially affects the planet in the long run. So I think all absolutely. Of it is I think it's fantastic that we're going to have those conversations, and I think it's really starting to pique everyone's interest. So fantastic. Thank you for this.
Pleasure.
Guys, if you want to catch the Lunchtime series, go and check it out on or YouTube and all the major podcast channels. You can check all the interesting stuff that Craig and I chat about every single week. Craig, thank you so much, and looking forward to that 100. That's a couple of shows away. It's about 10 shows away. So
10 shows away, yeah. 2 more shows this year, and 10 in total away for the big 100.
Fantastic. Craig, have a fantastic week. I'll chat to you soon.
Chat next week. Thanks a lot, Kevin. Ciao, bye.